This is the Plain English Real Estate Show with your host, Rowena Patton, a show that focuses on the real estate market in terms you can easily understand. Call Rowena now. The number is 240-9962 or 1-800-570-9962. Now here's the English girl in the mountains, the agent that I would trust, Rowena Patton.
Good morning. This is Tyler Malore filling in for Rowena Patton as she spends the day at the lake, which is a fantastic way to spend the day on a 90-degree Saturday. I'm a little jealous. I am joined by Alondra. Hey, Alondra, how are you this morning?
I am great, thank you.
We were just chatting. Somehow, how long have you worked at All-Star Powerhouse now?
I've been there since January, so 6 months now.
Dang, and this is your first radio show, right?
This is my first radio show.
That's a bummer because you're on with me. When you're on with Ro, you can just kind of scoot by. She rambles and talks, and it's really effortless. You just kind of have to do a sure, a okay, and a every now and again. Unfortunately, you do not have that freedom with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with that.
Okay. Well, do you know what our topic is today?
No.
Oh, so
No.
it's supposed to be most popular local restaurants, nature, businesses, and everything for tourists. Just talking about things to do in Asheville. But coincidentally, the last time I was on the show, I hosted with Carson, and we spoke about this exact same topic. So I think we should just interview you this morning. How do you feel?
Interview me.
Yeah. So all of you listeners out there, the millions that are currently hearing you right now, don't really know Alondra. Alondra, you're an ISA in the office. What is an ISA?
So we basically take care of like leads that come in.
Okay.
And we take care of customers. We take care of questions. We make appointments. Yeah, that's basically what we do.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And you are a very pivotal part of our team. And love having you ever since January. That's been awesome. That time has flown by, I'm sure. But you also run an Airbnb, right?
I do. I do have an Airbnb in Candler.
Okay.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I do.
So how long have you been operating this Airbnb?
For over a year.
Okay.
I think my first booking was May of last year, so it's been over a year.
Okay,
It's
nice.
been very fun.
Nice. So what got you into doing Airbnb?
So I was working for my uncle a year ago in a tax office in Asheville, and he has Airbnbs. So he kind of convinced me into buying something because he knew I was saving my money for something, and I was just like saving my money for like a couple of years, but I wasn't sure what I was going to buy. And he's like, you know what? I think you should buy an Airbnb.
Okay.
And so he kind of convinced me into it, and he helped me a lot and sort of guided me through like the basics, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was very fun. But yeah, that's how it started with my Airbnb.
Cool. So let's dive into this. How did you identify this home that you settled on as being a good candidate for your Airbnb? I just know there's a lot of people in the Asheville area that are interested in short-term rentals, maybe don't know how to get into it. What's the proper property? So I'd love to hear a little bit about like how you selected this individual property.
Right. So after I made the decision to like buy an Airbnb, I started looking for a lender. And I guess that was like the first step, just looking for a lender and a lender that would work for me. So I found a lender. I got pre-approved, and that it gave me like my budget to know what to start looking for. And I don't know, it kind of just happened. It kind of just happened because I found this cute little house, and it was a new construction.
Okay.
It wasn't even finished. They were
wow.
still doing like the paint and putting in like additional stuff. So it wasn't even finished, and I found it in Candler, and I put an offer in, and it got accepted like within an hour. So
Wow.
I was very, very lucky and blessed.
Were you offering over asking under ask? Because this is, 2021. This is different times. This is, the height of a market.
It was, I think it was just the asking price.
Okay.
And the seller actually agreed to pay some of the closing costs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
was very, very, very lucky.
Yeah, that is a very unusual scenario, circa a year ago. And I know a lot of people have just kind of sat on the sidelines saying, this isn't a market you can invest in. Things are too inflated. Did you do anything to analyze the deal? Say, hey, my uncle said, let's get into this Airbnb. You said, okay, got hooked up with a lender, understood what you could afford, which is what everybody should honestly do when they get into the market, whether for its investments or if you're just looking to purchase as an owner occupant. Get the conversation started with the lender, understand what you can afford, and then you really start shopping. Otherwise, you start searching in price ranges that you may not be able to afford, and then you get discouraged when you have that conversation with the lender. But did you do anything to say, hey, I know my mortgage is going to be about, $1,000, just keep it even. What can I expect for my rental on Airbnb, since this would be your first one?
Yes. So I'm actually part of CREA.
Okay. What's CREA?
It's the
Carolina Real Estate Investors Association, maybe?
Yes. Yes. So I'm part of CREA, and it's a great community because everybody's very, very helpful. So I started doing my research and started asking around and just attending the short-term rental group. So I got a lot of help from there, and they also had a seminar going on for short-term rentals, and I guess that's where I learned a lot because I was able to get some spreadsheets from the seminar to run numbers and based on occupancy and based on nightly rates or how occupied I expected to be, what my cash flow was going to be. So I got a lot of help, and I did do the math for it, but I kind of just jumped into it. I was kind of lucky, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds, we all get a little bit lucky when these things work out. But you used great resources, and that's always important. And I think people sometimes shy away from mentorship because it's really hard for people to admit they don't know everything. But I think especially when it comes to real estate investing, when these investments are so grand, it's not cheap. I'm sure your investment was more than $100,000, which is a lot of money to invest. You want to make sure that you use as many fail-safes as possible, which oftentimes is other people's mistakes. Because I'm sure at these CREA meetings, which is a local organization of real estate investors that meet to network, share deals. Sometimes there's hard money lenders, which will loan you money, not necessarily based off income, but based off the deal itself. And then a lot of people speak on different subjects such as short-term rentals, short sales, flips, investing, rollover 401ks, stuff like that, self-directed 401ks, to where you can actually distribute those funds towards investing in real estate. So there's a lot of different avenues you can take it. So that's why those CREA meetings, they've got subgroups, like you mentioned, your short-term, but they've got very broad groups to where you can kind of expand your knowledge. So that's great for anybody that's, piquing their interest into investing. That's a great place to start because you can go as a guest. I think you pay $5, $10 a meeting, and you can kind of get exposed to that community, which is nice. So how many deals did you analyze before you went for this one, or was this the first one and it just worked?
This was the first one.
Really?
And it kind of just worked. I've been interested in real estate for several years now, and I was saving money, and I knew I wanted to buy property. I didn't know what it was going to be. I was just kind of learning and going to groups and learning from my uncle, but I wasn't sure what I was going to buy. I was just saving money.
And are you a homeowner previous to this? So you're searching and you're looking for something as you already have a mortgage in a current primary residence, or are you renting, looking for an investment?
No, I'm currently renting. So I was renting and looking for an investment. And I don't know. I guess since I'm young and I'm single and I don't have kids, my schedule is very flexible where I can just rent a small space and not need a home and be able to invest instead. So
yeah, and I think that is one of the most intelligent things anyone can do. And I think we all have a misconception that we have to buy first for ourselves. But here you are, you are young, and instead of, taking that leap, and it is ultimately a liability that hurts your debt to income ratio, you used your opportunity to have, good income, qualify for this loan, and, build your personal net worth and add to, your income by creating this more or less passive income source. Okay, so first one, you got it. Used a lot of spreadsheets that you got from this group. So now you closed on it. What drove you to furnish it the way you did, or, kind of, did you have any mentorship going through the process of, now it's yours, now what do I do?
Well, I guess I did have a little bit of mentorship of how to like furnish it and what essentials you need in a home.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm also a girl, so like I kind of know what essentials you need in a home.
Whoa. If you could only see the stare that I got when she said that. Yes. Thanks.
But no, I did have I did have some mentorship of like what goes in a home, but I don't know, like my home where I live, like I like having it clean, I like having it nice, it looks pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So I just furnished it however I felt like it looked nice. And
so would you recommend me saying, I think my space is pretty, to just go and furnish a new space how I think is pretty, or should I reach out to somebody and see maybe how a lady thinks is pretty?
I think you should reach out, see how a lady thinks.
Okay.
Just because sometimes I feel like it needs a woman's touch.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So you designed it somewhat like your own space and how you would like to live. You're all set up. You've got, I'm assuming, all your toiletries, everything like that. Now, are you pricing it yourself, managing, cleaning? What's that process been like? Once, you've got it furnished, now I'm ready to list.
Yeah. So I was pricing it with myself with like the spreadsheets that I had, just because I wanted to like understand the numbers. Like I wanted to do the numbers and like understand them before like going through like a program.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I am going through a program that helps me price my Airbnb, which is nice. It frees up a lot of my time, so I can do other stuff.
And this is this like a program that's somewhat intuitive, so it knows like when we have large events coming into town in Nashville,
Yes.
and it just boosts them up for that weekend, or
Yes.
bookings are down, so it drops it.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. And you can also set like a minimum price or like your average. And there's like a lot of things you can do that you can set it like to where it works for you, like
Mm-hmm.
based on your occupancy or based just on the market, or if you want to offer discounts, things like that. So you can go in there and just kind of like tweak it, and it'll price it the way you want it to price, but it'll do it for you. So it's very nice.
Okay. And then cleaning and like turnovers, how are you managing that?
So I have a calendar that I share with my cleaning lady.
Okay.
And so I just ask her.
Mm-hmm.
I just send it to her at the beginning of the month, and that way she knows what her month looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any changes, we just communicate. So
Yeah. Has that been difficult, or has that been pretty seamless for this whole year?
no, it hasn't been difficult. It hasn't.
Okay.
So the cleaning lady that I use, she's a single mom,
Mm-hmm.
and so she does this just like on the side, and she has kids, so she's able to take her kids to my house, and
Okay.
it helps her. So
Her name's not Ruth, is it?
no.
Okay. Shot in the dark. So then what has the hardest part been going through this Airbnb process? Because it seems like you've just kind of cruised on by, no hardships, first property, all the numbers worked. The cleaning, you're great furnishing. I'm not. And then bookings, you're like, hey, they just started rolling in. You're like, hey, Airbnb is everything everyone said it would be. Or your first couple months, maybe you were in the red. You weren't quite making more than your mortgage payment and to clean your cleaning lady. What did that look like from, initiation standpoint?
Yeah, no, I feel like for sure the first few months were very difficult, because I had a certain amount of money saved after like my down payment for the house. I had a certain amount of money saved, and I had run my numbers. I kind of knew like I was in a budget. Like I kind of knew how much I was going to spend, but I wasn't sure if it was gonna be enough, if I was gonna need more money. So that was a little scary, but I kind of just went for it. And yeah, the first few months, because it took me about 2 months to furnish the home and then have it rented. So the first few months I had to pay the mortgage, which was pricey.
Yeah, a little less than exciting, I'm sure.
It wasn't exciting.
Paying your rent, paying a mortgage, and no additional income coming in. That's a little stressful. So you're up, you're running. To this day, did you calculate like your overall investment, let's say $15,000? Have you calculated to see how long it's taken to pay yourself back for that overall investment, to say, hey, now I'm completely operating in the green? How long did that take, if you know offhand?
Yeah. I don't have the exact numbers, because I don't know. I've been very busy.
No, that's a lot. I think, I'm definitely kind of a fly by the seat of my pants guy, and I'm just, hey, let's get this thing up and running. All the numbers work. Let's get it furnished. And, establishing those further calculations is mostly interesting from the standpoint of repeating it, because I think the more often you intend to do it, the more important those numbers are. Because if you're going to continue investing $20, $50, $80,000 in, the overall purchase price, furnishing, then you have to understand that payback period. And maybe you'll, calculate and dive into those numbers a little bit more on future ones.
Yeah. So, I guess when I started, I did the numbers on like my payback period, and it was like about a year and a half.
Okay.
I think. It's somewhere in my computer.
Yeah.
But I think it was like about a year and a half. I've done some things to the house. I've like bought some extra stuff just because I want it to be nice. Every month I do see how much cash flow I've had, but I haven't broken even yet.
Okay.
So, I also built like a fire pit outside of like the house. So I've had a lot of expenses, just like adding stuff to the house. So no, I'm not sure when I'm going to break even. Yeah.
So you've been operating for over a year. You've got a pretty good grasp on it. Hopefully getting close to that, full payback. If you were to go speak with Alondra in May of 2021, would you say, hey, do this short-term thing, you got it? Or would you say, hey, maybe let's consider this other avenue?
I would definitely tell myself to do the short-term thing.
Okay. And do you want to do it again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
So how soon are you looking to do that? Are you always like kind of consciously looking around for good opportunities, or you say, hey, I want to get this thing leveled out, paying me more, and then go from there?
So I am not sure, just because I've had a lot of expenses like this year, like personal expensive, like a lot of things happened where my savings account went down a lot.
Yeah.
So that's not helpful. But I'm working on my savings account, and I'm hoping that within 2 years I can buy another Airbnb.
Have you ever considered partnering with anyone? Because I think there's a lot of people in your scenario, me included. We dip into our savings accounts. We have plans. They don't go as planned, and that's just kind of the nature of life. But now this is your opportunity to acknowledge, like, you are, a fountain of knowledge for anybody else that's on the sidelines, scared to get into it. Maybe they're a male and they don't have the furnishing touch like you do, and they can partner up. Maybe they're a capital partner. You're an intellectual partner. You take a percentage of the deal, whether it be through, equity, through, your education now, or also through the time that you spend in it. Have you considered an option like that?
I have. Actually, I've been thinking about it. I was thinking about it recently just because my plan was to buy another Airbnb the coming year, 2023, probably like around the summer. And that was my plan. But since stuff happened and I don't have all the money I need to be able to put a down payment and then furnish it, I was thinking about finding somebody that I could partner up with and buy an Airbnb. But it's just been a thought. I haven't done any research, or I haven't looked for anybody.
Yeah. So that's, for those listening that are interested in investing, that's where these meetings and forums are especially good, because you can often be that person looking to dip their toes in it, and get linked up with an Alondra, who's happy to walk you through and mitigate some of those risks by having done it once before, knowing the proper order of operations, because that's what's going to save you time. Getting your rental on there a month earlier means getting paid sooner, getting super host status, which I'm sure you know a lot about and can kind of speak on, and then scaling. Scaling is, I think, a very tough part for investors, because I can't even begin to guess your overall investment, but a lot of unoccupied investment properties, you need 25% down. Let's say it's a $200,000 home. That's $50,000 cash plus closing costs plus furnishing. We're talking $70,000. That's tough to do scaling, because, you do one. How long does it take most people to save $70,000 cash? Most people a while. Most people aren't doing that on an annual basis unless they're very high earners. So, partnering up with 1, 2, 3, 4 people to help achieve this and start scaling is really kind of what's going to be that, passage to, continuing in that investing category. Tell me about Superhost. I've never ran an Airbnb. I've heard getting Superhost is, really what you're trying to do. Have you reached there? How long did it take you? Did you notice a bump in your bookings after you reached that?
Yes. Yes, I did reach Superhost status, and I think it was in October. So they do.
So it was pretty quick. May to October, 5 months plus. Were you 2 months getting it ready, and then?
Yeah. So it took me about 4 months, I think. They do an assessment like every 3 months, and then you have to meet certain criteria. You have to have certain nights booked, and then your rating has to be, I think they changed it to where it has to be like above 4.8.
Okay.
And then your cancellation rate, you can only have one cancellation rate a year, I think.
Which is, for those listening, that's you, Alondra, canceling.
Yes, me canceling. Yeah. Not the
clients.
Yeah, not the clients canceling. Which I haven't done any cancellations, so
yeah,
that's good.
yeah. Try not to do that.
Yeah.
So once you reached that in October, did you notice a difference, or is that just like?
I noticed a difference because I'm always in there just looking at my performance and like how many views I have, how many savings I have. So yeah, after I reached Superhost, I did notice like a big difference in like views. So I do think it does help a lot.
Okay. And then one thing, I was listening to a podcast yesterday on Bigger Pockets, and apparently the Airbnb platform has shifted a little bit. So instead of the user, me guiding and saying, hey, this is where I want to go, Airbnb is creating more of a guideship and saying, hey, these are the places you should go, and kind of pushing people to different markets. Have you noticed any shift in your Airbnb this summer, or everything's been kind of continually progressing in a positive sense?
I haven't noticed any shift on my Airbnb.
Yeah.
I do think there's like a shift going on because I do know Airbnb is evolving. It's doing different things, which is nice, but I haven't noticed the shift in my Airbnb.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like they're being a little bit more proactive. I think they put in their no party rule, which I know I have a friend that's hosting a wedding reception at an Airbnb. He's like, oh crap, what are we going to do? Are they going to shut us down? Like, how's this going to go? And unfortunately, I've got no idea, so I don't know why he's telling me. But so I think they're figuring out the ins and outs of their business. They also went public not too long ago. Do you also use VRBO, or are you exclusive to Airbnb?
No, I also use VRBO.
Okay. And any difference, or you're just really trying to get out to all the masses that you can? Or do you prefer using one platform?
I like VRBO. I like it, but most of my bookings, I would say like 90% of my bookings come from Airbnb.
Okay. And then what are your biggest mistakes you've made through this process, or things that you'd say, hey, these are things I would not repeat again, or maybe you've had some serious issues with tenants, renters, that you would resolve a little bit differently in the future?
Mm.
And if you don't have any mistakes, then I think you just gained a lot of partnerships. Anyone that's listening and says, hey, Alondra shoots and doesn't miss.
I don't know what mistakes. I haven't had any bad reviews, and knock on wood.
You might want to knock on some real wood before you leave.
Right. But I really try to make my Airbnb very homey, where everybody would feel very, very comfortable, and it's very, very clean.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you go anywhere and it's just very clean, people feel at home. You know, like it's clean. Like, you're not going to complain. It's clean.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, how clean it is, it's definitely one of my priorities. And I've traveled to like different Airbnbs, and whenever I go, I've like noticed stuff that I wish would have, been there, or like stuff that was missing, or so I try to add all that to my Airbnb just because I've had the experience of like staying at other people's Airbnbs. So I don't know. I feel like I definitely had a lot of mistakes where I was like, oh no, maybe I shouldn't have bought that, or maybe I should have bought white sheets instead of gray sheets, or stuff like that. But it was just stuff that happened, and I took care of it, and it just kept on going.
Yeah, nothing that held you up too long. I think there's a lot of minutia you can get like tied into. Like, I follow every single group in regards to real estate investing, and I think I've seen everything posted. Like, most recently, do you go Keurig, or do you go drip coffee maker? Like, what do you find your guests liking more? And I think it's just tough. Like, you're never going to appeal to everybody. So you just want to make sure and have as many amenities as possible, and just not missing anything. Because I don't think anyone's like, oh, dang, they've got a drip coffee maker. It's just, oh, they don't have coffee. That's upsetting. Yeah. That's upsetting to me, at least personally, if I wake up and there's no coffee. Cool. Well, what do you think? Where do you excel? Did you choose a location where you're like, hey, I'm close to Asheville, I just want to be close and proximal to that area so people can like bebop around? Or are you trying to create, an immersive experience where you find people are, spending the majority of the time at the house? You're getting reviews saying, hey, we never left this cozy cabin. What did you target there?
I guess I'm targeting the Asheville area. But not, I guess, like Buncombe County, Henderson too, just because it's closer. And since I am managing my Airbnb, I don't know, I feel like I would have to be able to go in case something happens. And I don't know, I like the Asheville area. So, yeah, Asheville.
Okay. And on a future one, where do you want to continue investing in Nashville? Do you want to kind of, challenge yourself, go into a different market?
I do want to go into a different market, but I've told myself that I want to own 4 properties in Asheville before I try a new market.
Okay.
So that's just my goal right now. 4 properties in Asheville before I go and try a different market.
And is this a self-imposed kind of goal, or is this something that your group recommended, really just kind of get a grasp on your market before you expand?
I guess I was reading this book called Cash Flow Quadrant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he said he used the formula for Monopoly,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I believe, 4 greenhouses and then 1 red hotel.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah. So it's a great book. Robert Kiyosaki, Cash Flow Quadrant, also the writer of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. 2 great books. Highly recommend Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's what initially got me interested in real estate investing. I was living on the beach in Wilmington, 2014, reading on the beach, and I was like, oh man, like, I should definitely just kind of dive in. And that's when it really got started, because, that's definitely the answer to getting out of the rat race if you want to, whether or not it's being an Airbnb investor, long-term rental investor. There's a lot of different avenues to kind of parlay into, building that passive income flow. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, though, just for Alondra in her first 11 months. I've got some horror stories I could tell you. I once had a long-term renter, lady, she was doing some laundry, and she said, hey, it's pouring all onto the floor in the mudroom. I said, dang, take a picture, let me know. And then I get there, because she sends me a picture of all this water everywhere. I was like, just try and get as many towels. So I grab as many towels as I can from the house, my wet vac, and I'm going to go suck it up. And I go take a look. She pulled the outlet, the disposing water tube from the back of the washing machine, from the outlet pipe, the PVC pipe that's supposed to go into the wall and go down into the septic eventually. She plugged it back into the unit itself. There's a bunch of arbitrary holes in the back of a washing machine that don't go to anything except for some of the, motherboards and the electrical pieces. She plugged it back into the unit itself. So it was just recycling water onto itself and then ultimately onto the floor. And, a lot of times you're just not dealing, people have never owned a home before. People have never troubleshot anything. So 1, they try to fix it themselves, or 2, they don't want to bother you. And they say, hey, it's been an issue for a couple months, but, I just didn't really want to say anything. That's why I'm here. Please, I don't bite. I never yell. Just let me know. Let me address it as soon as I can. There was a bathtub leak once, and it was just like a drip, and they didn't say anything. They was like, it's not a big deal. Yeah, maybe not the biggest deal, until they call me, and it's a complete flushing, bathtub, absolutely no control at the knob, and it is just flowing without any resistance. And I was just like, if you would have let me know a little bit, I'll get somebody out here. I'm not a slumlord by any means. We can get you taken care of. So yeah, it's sometimes a bit of an issue. But should we take a break, Randy, and we'll pop back and grill Alondra a little bit more?
Sounds like a plan. We'll be right back.
From the 570 Weather Center, this is your Weather Channel forecast.
There will be a slight chance for a shower thunderstorm developing this afternoon. Otherwise, a mix of clouds and sunshine and hot with a high of 92 degrees. Any rain that does move in is going to taper off during the evening with a partly cloudy sky overnight and a low of 65. After some early sunshine on Sunday, there may be a few afternoon thunderstorms with a high near 90. And then on Monday, showers and thunderstorms will increase during the afternoon hours as the high temperature reaches the mid-80s. I'm Jeff Marr from the Weather Channel.
Make this the year you go to our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Friday, September 23rd and Saturday the 24th. Buy your tickets now at AXS.com.
Stream it free on the CW app and CWTV.com.
Sponsored by The Hartford. With insurance designed for your small business, the Bucks got your back. Go to iHeartRadio.com/The Hartford to learn how to nominate your favorite small business owner for a small business grant and a bonus chance to win a trip to the iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Hi, this is Rick, and we sold our home with Rowena Patton at All-Star Powerhouse. We didn't really want to move, but needed to for my job. Our first realtor didn't listen, didn't care, didn't try. Not a single showing in 2 months. A friend recommended Rowena. She saw the hard work we'd put into the home, what it meant to us, and what it could mean to someone else. Next thing you know, it's sold. If you need to get your home sold and not just listed, you need to talk with Rowena Patton. Give her a call at 828-333-4483.
Don't let real estate pass you by with All-Star Powerhouse.
Rowena Patton here at All-Star Powerhouse. Sell it now. Don't wait. Call me at 828-333-4483.
Don't let real estate pass you by with All-Star Powerhouse.
This is the Plain English Real Estate Show with Rowena Patton on News Radio 570 WWNC.
Welcome back. Once again, joined by Alondra as we chat about the short-term rental market and what her experience has been. Please give us a call if you're in the area, 828-240-9962. Grill Alondra, as I am already, or 1-800-570-9962. Give us a shout. Alondra is, fairly new to the Airbnb game. She's been running one for about 13, 14 months, crushing it so far. I've almost ran out of questions. I can continue digging and making this challenging for her, or she can fire back. We'll see how that goes. But give us a call. I'd love to hear anything. Did you bring any trivia, Alondra, or did you even know that was a thing?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Ooh, okay. So no trivia for you guys today. Maybe you could win a free cocktail at Jargon or a free scone. Oh, they are no longer open. I'm sorry. Nettie's Bakery in Waynesville. Or you can win a free mask, maybe just by calling and grilling Alondra. We will give you one of those free prizes. So give us a call, 1-800-570-9962 or 828-240-9962. So, Alondra, you are also recently licensed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what motivated you to get your real estate license?
I guess I love learning. I love feeding my brain, just like learning anything and just knowing how something works or knowing something just, I don't know, it's exciting to me. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to understand real estate. Like I feel like I didn't know much and I just wanted a little bit of education on it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's why I was like, I think I need to get my real estate license and get educated.
So now that you have your real estate license and you know all of that, are you currently getting your general contracting license as you are continuing to better yourself and learn more? Or are you diving into real estate head first and not working on anything else now?
I am not currently working on anything right now, just because I got an Airbnb a year ago and then I got my license a few months ago. So I feel like I need a break, just to handle life and me and my dogs.
Yeah. Well, good. That makes me feel more confident about myself and my lack of further education that you are.
I am reading a lot though.
Okay.
So, I do have to be learning something all the time or I get bored. Mm-hmm. So I am reading a lot. I do have like a book list I need to finish by the end of the year, but that's about it. I'm just reading, working, and handling my Airbnb as of now.
So what are you reading currently? Are you reading books in the real estate arena or just kind of all around, fiction, nonfiction?
I am kind of reading all around, just anything that will teach me about real estate, money, personal growth. I'm currently reading Emotional Intelligence.
Okay.
It's a really good book. I started it last weekend. I've only read like a few chapters, but it's a good book. So,
what is your favorite business or real estate related book and why?
Well, I would say it would have to be Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
But I finished Cash Flow Quadrant last weekend, a few weeks ago. And I feel like that has to be my favorite book now.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's in between Cash Flow Quadrant and Rich Dad Poor Dad.
So just since that is your favorite book, can you detail the 4 quadrants and what they are?
Yes.
Okay. What do you got?
So, E is for employee.
Mm-hmm.
S is for self-employed. B is for business owner. And I is for investors.
Okay.
And so Robert explains how we all have a home in either 1 or 2 quadrants, but he talks about the core values a person has to have to be in each quadrant and why you can't just easily jump from one quadrant into another with like the same core values. So it's a really nice book.
And it's cool because it doesn't shame you into saying like, oh, you're an E and you're in the E quadrant. It's all depends on our own risk tolerance. Because I think going to that I or that S is very challenging because, you know, you don't have a W-2 paycheck. You don't know what it's going to be that week. And that volatility isn't for everybody, and that's fine. And I think that's one thing that society has done recently is kind of shamed you for not going outside of that box and saying, you know, you're not really pushing yourself if you're not. You know, it's completely fine. You know, we need E's, we need S's, we need I's. It's all a symbiotic relationship in order for everything to work. So do you have trouble pushing outside of, you know, an E, or what quadrant do you identify as currently, and what do you want to go into?
I currently identify myself as an E because I do have a salary job. And I also would identify myself as an S.
Okay.
I would love to be a B and an I.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I guess that's kind of what I'm working on. And that's kind of why I'm reading, because I know educating myself in the right areas, it's very important. So
okay. And then so now kind of coming back to real estate and getting your license, has it been everything you thought it would be? Has it been, you know, easier to wrap your hands around than you may have thought, or more challenging? What are your kind of initial thoughts?
I don't think it's been anything I thought it was going to be. But that's not a bad thing. It's definitely been fun.
Okay.
And I've learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm blessed and I'm happy where I'm at right now. So
you're definitely, and just for people listening, like we said ISA, that is one of the very many hats Alondra wears. You do so much more than that in the office, and you have certainly had, you know, the fire hydrant experience of you're taking a lot on, everything on simultaneously. You play a part in the listings, you play a part in the transaction management, and then you handle internal leads, and then try to wrangle kittens as you work with the buyer's agents. So that's a lot of different hats.
yeah.
And it's nothing like what you were doing previously, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what would you say you've resonated with the most? Like you did it and you're like, like I think I want to, you know, dive deeper into this part, or you just like everything coming at you at once?
I'm very used to everything coming at me at once. Mm-hmm. So I'm the oldest of 5.
Okay.
And I mean, I had to, you know, help with my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm used to chaos.
Okay.
But
I think it feels like you're calling us children right now. And,
no.
And you're used to us.
No, I'm just used to a lot going on, you know, mm-hmm. like there's always something going on. Something's always going to happen, but it's how you handle it that matters. You know, mm-hmm. like you can't run around crazy. You just have to deal with it, and it's okay, and keep calm and keep on moving and have faith.
Yeah. So that's where you probably excel, because you're able to stay cool. Yeah, you know, I think that's a big part of this all is sometimes things happen and people are like, oh, this has to happen right now. Though real estate can be time sensitive, less and less as things become a little bit more balanced. It doesn't mean you can't take a step back, look at the scenario with a calm, level head, and breathe, and then react. I think emotions run high in this business. Buyers, sellers, agents, lenders. There's a lot riding on the line for a lot of different people. It's the biggest investment a buyer is ever going to make, a biggest opportunity for wealth growth a seller is going to have. So things get a little, heated sometimes. So I think for you to be that calm, voice or that calm ear for somebody to be able to speak with, or even for the agents to be able to speak with is, super important and very valuable to the office and to, all the people you speak with.
Yeah. Yeah, things are definitely like time sensitive, but I don't think it benefits anybody if you just lose your mind and go crazy.
Yeah, definitely doesn't help.
It doesn't help. So you have to stay calm and handle it. And I feel like as long as you do what you're supposed to do and do things the right way and, have good integrity and just own up to, if you make a mistake, own up to it. Like it's okay.
Yeah. That's going to pay dividends in the end if you can just act with integrity. And I think that, goes well beyond real estate. As we kind of continue talking here, we'll take just a quick break and shout out some of the listings we've had gone live. Can you give any of them verbatim, Alondra? No.
No.
I just figured I'd put you on the spot one more time. So we've got Josh Case's new listing. That is an Old Fort. We've been getting a ton of calls on it in the office. 457 Mackey Creek Road, $230,000. I've not seen anything in that price range that looks livable in quite some time. So you just hop right down the mountain, down 40. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 0.35 acres. That's at $130 a square foot, which is awesome. And there's even an in-ground pool, which on a weekend like this, I can imagine is incredible. So give that a look at mountainhomehunt.com. We got a couple more that recently went live that I may have just lost because I'm not good at technology. Give me one more second as I stall. Maybe we won't be able to find it. Well, sorry about that. Just head to our website, mountainhomehunt.com.
I thought you knew them by memory.
Oh, man. If only. I think I've got too many things going on in my head to remember our listings verbatim, but I try my best. So we'll give this one. And then we also have 30 Park Avenue, which is $499,900. It is a 3-2. That is in Asheville. It's a 28803 address. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1/4 acre, 294 square foot, almost 1,700 square feet. Built in 1985, 2-car garage. Awesome property, South Asheville, nicely located. So yeah, give our website a look. It's only so exciting to hear these things on the radio. Our website's great. Give it a look, mountainhomehunt.com. So as you get into these 3 more Airbnbs, Alondra, and I love the Association Monopoly because that is my favorite board game, and I think we're playing tonight, which I intend to win as many hotels as I can. What areas would you like to target? Keep going in Candler? Do you like Black Mountain? What if you could choose a market in the surrounding areas? What would you try and focus on?
I definitely want some property in Fletcher.
Okay.
I like Fletcher.
Okay.
It's very peaceful. And I would like something in Black Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
those are the 2 areas I'm targeting.
Yeah.
Fletcher and Black Mountain.
Black Mountain's probably one of the more exciting areas. What I tell people is if you end up in Candler, Leicester, even Fletcher, you have a few less amenities that the area provides. Black Mountain's nice because, you've got a downtown area that's like very walkable, nice restaurants. You can get over to Lake Lore very easily. And then you're still very close to Asheville. Whereas I feel like areas like Candler, Leicester, Fletcher, you kind of just rely on your proximity to Asheville. And people are mostly likely just going back and forth to there. I know Waynesville is a very productive Airbnb market, as well as Maggie Valley now, both about 35 minutes away. So
I got a really good location in Candler because I think it's like about 15 minutes to West Asheville, and it's like a 20-minute drive to downtown Asheville. Nice. But it has a very nice view. It has a mountain view.
Oh, nice.
Which it's very nice.
Okay.
And there's like a farm nearby, and you can see like the cows or like the horses sometimes, and it's very, very peaceful. So, yeah.
Was it a struggle to buy a brand new house and then not move in and say, hey, I'm not even going to get to sleep in this? Like, I had a client just buy a house like that, and I'm like, and they're just putting it on the rental market, and they're never going to live in it. I'm like, man, I would just have like a little bit of an emotional experience with, this is nice. It's a nice mountain view. It's a nice yard. This is mine. And only strangers are going to sleep here.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yes. It was a struggle, but I mean, it's okay because I do go and spend like some weekends there when like I need some free time away from like everybody else. I'll just go with my dog, take a book, and spend a weekend there. So it was a struggle, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, yeah. And then does your listing have a name? Can we give you a shameless plug on the radio for people to look up?
It doesn't have a name. I know, right?
Yeah, so how can people find it?
That's a good question.
Dang, Alondra.
I know. I know. So I changed the name like on a regular basis, so it doesn't have the name.
Are you trying to make sure people can't find your Airbnb?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting strategy. I think maybe we should settle on a name here soon so people can find it. How many bedrooms does it have?
It has 3 beds, 2 baths.
Okay, nice. Was that on purpose, or this just happened?
It just happened.
Okay, nice. I think that's a good target, though. Brand new, so nothing's really broken. You haven't had to have excessive repairs.
No.
More knocking on what is happening.
No. No, nothing too crazy has happened. It is brand new, so I hope nothing crazy happens.
Mm-hmm. And no HOA?
No HOA.
Okay, and that's good. That for listeners out there that are trying to look on their own without professional help, making sure that you're not in an HOA is great. Even if they're okay with it now, doesn't mean that they're going to be okay with it forever. So you don't want to ruffle feathers. Do you have neighbors looking out after your property, or do you have any complaints in the neighborhood?
I haven't had any complaints. So before I started renting it, I went and talked to all of my neighbors. I introduced myself. I told them what I was doing. I gave them my phone number.
Nice.
I kind of just talked to everybody about it. And it's been everybody has been very, very friendly. One of my neighbors is the one who actually takes care of my lawn.
Oh, okay.
So he'll go back there and take care of the lawn, and then I'll just, pay him like at the end of the month for it.
Oh, perfect.
So it works.
Well, I think that brings us to the end. Thank you, Alondra, for joining me this morning, and thank you for letting me interview you for an hour.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, we still have 10 seconds, but thank you for that last little tidbit. Talk to your neighbors, whether or not you're buying an Airbnb or primary residence. Bring them a fruitcake and say hello. Here's my number. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful Saturday.
This has been the Plain English Real Estate Show with Rowena Patton. Visit Rowena and post your questions at radioasheville.com or call her at 828-210-1648.